Am I ready here? I guess I am. You notice that when she started introducing the candidates, I backed up. I'm not a candidate for the board. No association. And thank you all for joining us today. We have learned a lot about Election Buddy, and I'm pleased to share it with you. I'm also, as a volunteer, I'm wearing two hats. I want you to notice my t-shirt. These t-shirts are on sale in activities, and they're celebrating our 40th anniversary of Happy Trails. And there will be a lot of, it's actually officially started now with the Pickleball Classic, but in March there will be a lot more events, and you'll be hearing more about that. So that's my 40th anniversary hat. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sue Deal, and I'm doing this in the role of chair of the Communications Committee. After the first presentation we did in November, a lot of questions came up from you and from us being the board, the office, communications. So we've tried to get the answers. Election Buddy has been great to work with to get this information. So now I'd like to share it with you. All right, next, Dave. So just to recap, the first voting will be February 3rd through February 14th. That's every day it's active. Wherever you and your phone are located, or you'll do it by accessing the link in the notice you're going to be sent, and I will show you that a little more, or by a paper ballot at your request. And as I recollect, they have to be requested by the 27th. Is that correct? Okay. There are two information setting sessions, this one today and another one on the 28th at 1 o'clock. Both will be recorded, assuming the system and all the necessary pieces and parts continue to work. And access to Election Buddy will be via a secure, automatically generated 16-digit key. By the way, if you have questions on the particular slide, by all means ask. Otherwise, if you have general questions, hold them please till the end. So I put this list of tips together, and I will go through them, again at the end. I have my papers all backwards. I don't want to start at the end of the presentation, but I can see the slides there. In general, be sure and review, because there is a lot of wording or wordage on the changes to the bylaws and CC&Rs. It would be helpful, whatever way you vote, to take the time to review them online. I know many of you at one of the meetings picked up printed copies of the red line changes, so that's another way to review it if you still have those. If you use your phone, I told you this is really general. If you don't think, I always turn mine this way when I'm trying to fill out a form, because it's so skinny and small this way, that way you can scroll down to get what you need. And let me just take 1 second here and sort out my papers. Okay, now as far as the Board of Directors portion of the ballot, it requires what we're calling a positive vote. So you can vote for 0 to 3. If there are no choices that you like, you do not have to vote on Board of Directors. And the quota is what counts for Board of Directors elections. 25% of votes submitted, not for any one person, but just total votes submitted. So that's 25% of the lots in Happy Trails, which in this case is 501. The bylaws and CC&R changes, you will see all of the text. so that you can review it as you go. You will be offered the choice, and I'll show you in a second, of yes, I accept, no, I reject, or I want to abstain from this issue. The ballots, paper ballots, will be mailed to you either by U.S. mail or available in the office, and the office will be letting you know exactly how you can pick those up if you're having them here. And then the paper ballots will be entered into Election Buddy by HTCA staff, and only staff can do this. There won't be anybody else looking at any part of this. They will still remain secure. Okay, Election Buddy offers 3 parts to the process. You'll receive a notice, paper ballots will be mailed, or you'll get an electronic notice. Actually, you will get an electronic notice anyway by email if we have an email on file, so you'd have both choices. Then you'll enter your ballot choices and then review and submit the ballot. Next. You'll get an email and possibly an SMS link. I don't know the final answer to that. But the 16-digit key that it shows is actually a link directly to their website and to your ballot. And you're the only one who will have this link and can see it. And the link stays active until you complete your vote and click submit. As you'll see as we go, submit is the final, I'm done, and there will be no more changes. Be sure and save this message in case you get interrupted or you need to restart or you want to go and check something. Because if you stop without hitting submit, close down your computer, or it times out, you have to start over. There's no saving of how far you got against that link. Okay, entering the ballot choices. First will be the Board of Directors selection. You can see I have no real names on this example, just in case. You will choose 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3, but no more than 3, including write-ins if you happen to have that preference. And again, if you, at any time your session times out, you can start over again. If you want to see a little more information about the candidate, there's an information link highlighted there. If you click on it, it will take you to the bio of the applicant, which will look just like the bios that we're going to be seeing here in the library, in the post office. And then when you're done, it's very hard to see, but there's a little tiny X in the upper corner of that, and it will close that window. So in other words, it opens a new window to do this so you don't lose where you were in your voting. Any questions so far? Well, good, I think. When you're done, when you're doing the Board of Directors selection, again, I'm repeating, you can opt to skip it. There is no abstain option. And if we don't get any new candidates, the CC&Rs allow for up to seven board members, but 7 is not required. 4 directors constitute a quorum for board business. And then the votes which are submitted will count against quota, the 25% or 501 lots. It's always lots. So someone was asking earlier today, if you have more than 1 lot, or you know someone who does, if they have 5 lots, they will do 5 ballots. They will get 5 links. All right, and then once you're done with your Board of Directors choices, then you'll go down, scroll down to see the bylaw and CC&R changes. Now, I did not print all the text on here because you will see it, you have seen it, you see it in the red lines. It will be there, but I did want to show you the choices. The options will look very much like this. in that kind of a format with click boxes for your choice. Yes, no, abstain. Right, exactly. On the CCNR and bylaw changes, you must make a choice. Abstain is a choice, and it's fine. Then continue scrolling through all of them, and the last CCNR change will not only show you the options for voting, but will give you a continue button, which tells Election Buddy, okay, I'm done making these choices, and now I'm ready to review my ballot. Now, if you're doing paper, you basically will do the same thing. You'll have the same choices on the paper, yes, no, or abstain, for the bylaw and CCNR changes. You'll have the same looking information for choosing a director candidate or not. So it's in sync as far as that goes. Okay, the last of the 3 stages for Election Buddy is reviewing and submitting. So when you click that continue button, you will get a screen that looks like this. It's going to show you how you voted on everything. And then you have the choice of editing. If you click edit, it'll go back through everything for you, offering you the choice to change it. If you don't want to change it, you'll just scroll on past it. Then, once you're done with that, if you want to make a change, you click the edit. If you're satisfied with your vote, click submit. Submit finalizes the vote and records it to Election Buddy for counting. For the CCNR and bylaw changes, they require a quorum. That's 51% of votes submitted for passage of any changes to the bylaws and CCNRs. So as the counting goes on, as the Election Buddy does the counting on these issues, it will, each individual CCNR, let's say, will be counted passed or not by the number of yes or no votes, but they all go towards the quorum. That makes sense? Okay, I see some nods. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay. When you return your ballot, a paper ballot, if that's how you choose to vote, so what I just summarized there for you mostly talked about the electronic. It takes longer to tell you about this than it's actually going to take to vote that way. But when you return it, then HTCA staff will validate the envelope. Don't forget the name, lot, and signature. That doesn't change. Those are required for a valid envelope to start the process. They're going to remove the ballot and discard the envelope. Once the voting period closes, then they will enter the votes into electronic Election Buddy, and there's a reference number that will appear on the ballot. Staff never sees the reference number and who you are and what your link was at the same time. So that is also just like paper ballots. Before, is that the envelope goes one way, the ballot goes another. And your vote continues to stay private. Okay, the next thing that will happen is you're going to get confirmation from Election Buddy. In the case of paper ballots, the staff will see the confirmation. And you can save this, print it. It just tells you that you have voted successfully. This little busy thing here was just my attempt to summarize all of that in one place. It's the kind of thing that if anybody feels it would be of value, we can probably get it blasted out. But it just summarizes all of that, including an example of what the options will look like on Election Buddy, reminding you again, name, signature, and lot number if you do a paper ballot. And that is pretty much it. Let me go back through the tips for success, which may make more sense now. Next. There we go. You review the choices, how the board of directors portion works, how the bylaws and CCNR changes work. And I did get a question about quota versus quorum. When you vote, you just go ahead and vote your choices. Election Buddy will have the instructions for how to count the votes for each piece. So therefore, when you're doing the board piece, if you submit a selection, or even if you don't, as long as you hit submit on a ballot, then it will say this of the 501 lots has voted for the board of directors. CCNR, same thing. This of the 1,001 lots have voted on the CCNR changes. Okay, and the last thing that will happen, viewing the results, the office will get this information. How this particular piece, I believe we're gonna have a blast for sure, and an announcement of who won what happened with the CCNRs. So you may or may not see this exact thing from Election Buddy, but all of us will find out the results at the same time. Okay, questions? Correct. Submit is what registers your vote, however you voted. My answer to that would be no, but the employee entering will see the review page where it goes back and shows everything that was voted, and they will double check that. I don't know if it's going to be one person or two people, but they will be office staff. Any other questions? You can, let's see, I'm finding the page for you where it shows the review process. This page, which is one that as soon as you click continue, so you voted for the last CCNR and you're clicking continue, this will show you, whoops, we're back, sorry. It's back about before, it's number 11, Dave. I keep forgetting that he can't see what I can see. That one, okay. You certainly can take a print screen, a screenshot of how you voted, because, and for who, yes. So see at the top it has board of directors, Mrs. Mallard and Mr. Oliver, and the bylaw changes, all of which will actually appear.
And then just one more question. I know there's been a lot of controversy, whether this is good or bad. I know Justin Scott is the CEO of HomeCo. And what does the executive team of HomeCo, do they recommend this for all their communities?
They leave that up to the decision of the association. And this association has decided to go
Okay, so this was addressed earlier. The paper ballots will be turned in with all of the information on the envelope. That key number is on the ballot. It's processed by HTCA office. The intent is to have two, one to read it, one to enter it, and then they'll go back, verify it before they click submit, and it is now a electronic ballot. And it will count the same as if I had done it myself on my own computer at home.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, now you're talking process as opposed to election body. So let me do this, because this is a training session about how to enter your vote electronically. So we will go back and discuss that. If we need to change the process where it makes everybody feel better that maybe we hold all the paper ballots and then we do a subtotal with election buddy first and then we enter the paper ballots afterwards, we can do that too. So we have flexibility in that, but that's a process, that's not about getting it into election money.
Although in fact, it's my understanding that none of the paper ballots will be entered into Election Buddy until after all voting has closed, just as they do with absentee ballots. So in other words, after the end of the day, February 14th, which is the last day, then paper ballots will be entered. They won't be intertwingled.
So again, it's a process, and we're gonna talk with staff, with management, make sure we have that nailed down.
Right.
Like again, we'll talk to management and work that out.
Okay, I'm Pete Griffiths, Portsmouth. And as you know, I was county election committee before it was dissolved. And how we did the voting, nobody knew how anybody was voting. And when we tallied up the votes, there were 3 people at this end of the table and 3 people at that end of the table. One person would say who the vote was for. And each person that was on each side of the table would put a mark. Well, after we did 25 ballots, and we were really good at this, okay, after this many years. But anyway, after 25 ballots, then this person and this person had to match. If it did not, then it had to recount. It made it so verifiable. And I was told last year that there could be a challenge. And I was called out by our legal board, as well as Darlene, and they saw how we did it. And so they saw, well, no, not a problem. Now, when I went to the election buddy training, or presentation, let's put it that way, the package that we took, it was not supposed to be verifiable. They said that. They said that. And that's, well, it's not verifiable. How can you count it? So anyway, I'm not against, electronic voting. Okay, I want you to be perfectly clear about that. And when I went to the HOA Academy that Justin, the Homeco owner, CEO, was here, he came over and talked to me, and I told him that we could just dissolve it and go electronic vote. And he says, why did you guys get rid of the election committee? And I said, I don't know, we were just dismissed. So anyway, in his first presentation, when he got up to talk, he did say that most 55 and older communities are not ready for electronic voting yet. We're about 5 years too short because of the age group.
There is one point I want to make sure that's clear, Vicki. It's a good point that you raised it. What the office will see when they print a paper ballot is a reference number, not the link to the individual requesting it,
And not a name.
and not a name.
So I'm gonna jump in. So I understand that there are some concerns. We are an aging community, but we are not stupid. And you're right, there are concerns sometimes in 55+ communities, but what most certainly can. Because if the person reading the ballot says Karen, and it's really supposed to be Joy, you're gonna get numbers, but you're not validating that against individual names. So, that's okay. You can vote paper or you can vote electronic, that is your choice. But we are not going back to the old way. We are moving forward, we just ask everybody to work with it. Yes, sir.
Yes. It's the number of, it's the quota for an election. Yeah, okay, it's in it's in our CCNRs. Yeah, and yeah.
You would think so, but if you didn't have it at a low number, you might not get boards voted in. Because a lot of times when you don't reach a quorum. Even with the paper ballots that we did on last BOD, it was 43% received. So you can't do 50 or 51% for board of directors, you'll never get board of directors. So that's why it's usually at and that's normal in most associations. Yeah, no worries.
I just have to share that I'm insulted that we are being referred to as an aging group that is incapable
I'm sorry.
of not understanding electronic voting and not understanding this. We have been voting for presidents for decades and voting for the different propositions and stuff for decades, and we've been going to ballots and voting at our things and for something far more important in the United States than this. And I think we've been making judgment calls going to our ballot stations and making this. So to say that we don't have the ability to do this is very insulting.
Can I just say the option is always electronic, and we will be helping people. We will have several of us in the library set up over the voting period to help anybody that needs it. So if you want to be sure that your vote goes in to Election Buddy correctly, it's easy to vote electronically. You're welcome.
If an owner logs in using their 16-digit key code, but does not hit the submit button, does that count towards the quorum?
No, it doesn't count as a vote at all.
Thank you. If an owner's computer times out or shuts down, how does relog happen?
Well, that was why I said in the beginning to be sure and save the message that you get with your key on it, because you start again.
So the key code is still good? You don't
Still
have to
good,
get a new key
right?
code. You'll be able to log in multiple times.
Yes.
But once you hit submit, then that's void.
And you can log in multiple times, but what you did before will not be saved. So every time you log in, you start over.
Correct. How long will voting records be kept for inspection and review?
I don't, let Roberta answer that.
It's mandatory state law, 1 year.
There you go.
Yes, I did know that, but we are in a new system, and I did not know how the system was going to handle that. So the records will be kept online with the Election Buddy Corporation company?
Yes, yes.
They'll have access to that as long as they're in business.
Yeah, and let me just say one thing, Mickey, because I was going back through my original research. They have done almost 300,000 elections, and probably every one of them has slightly different requirements. So they're very experienced at this, and they helped us figure out some things.
And I have a question, how do they store the electronic data for the purpose of recounts? Do we have automatic recall on
On our own data, I don't think so.
So do we have to pay a price in order to review our data later?
When you say our own data, are you talking about Happy Trails or the individual?
The voting results.
That would be Happy Trails, and they have it.
So it will be kept on, oh, I hate to say this, it will be kept on our server?
No. Election Buddy, in the cloud.
Cloud now, yeah, I realize we're in the cloud now. Will we receive a receipt? If we are using the election buddy process, will we receive a receipt at the end of the process when we hit submit?
Yes.
Will election buddy notify Happy Trails admins who has logged in but not submitted their vote?
No, not that I know of.
We have the ability that if you have not voted, we can send you a text or another email that says we're still waiting on your vote. Does that help? So if you've not submitted, you're actually not in the system, you haven't voted. So we will know that, or POC will know that, and they can say, send them a message to vote.
So you'll be able to do that with the people who are using electronic voting. If they haven't hit submit, or if they haven't voted, Happy Trails admins will be able to say, please vote.
Yes.
What about those with paper ballots who have not submitted their paper ballots?
We have no way of knowing who has what paper ballot. We can only say all of you who requested them, make sure you voted.
So there's no tracking when those come back in as a vote?
Yes, I think it depends on, yeah, there, because since all the staff sees here is a reference number and not the key and not the person associated with that, then there would be no way to tell that the person had not submitted their paper ballot.
If owners request a paper ballot, can they change later and ask for the electronic process?
They can, they will have it actually. They still will get the email with the key. So however you choose to vote, you will always get this email.
So if I ask for a paper ballot, I'm still going to get the electronic version? I could switch my mind later
Yes,
and vote electronically?
yes. You just can't do both because within Election Buddy, the reference number knows that it's attached to a key. We don't ever see it, Election Buddy does. So it will not allow duplicate votes.
Okay, so if I ask for a paper ballot and I log in with my 16 key and I vote electronically, and then I turn in my paper ballot, when that data is being entered, is that when it will kick it back out and say this vote has already been processed?
Yes.
Can owners get a replacement paper ballot if they make a mistake?
What do you mean by a mistake?
I marked them yes instead of no on my paper ballot.
What did we do before? I said scribble it out and put the right choice, but we'll find out about that.
So no extra marks on the paper ballot, no crossouts. You could get a new one in the past? Could we get a new one now in the future if I make a mistake?
We will find that out.
Okay, sorry you guys, I do have a couple more. How is help available to us outside of Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3:30?
It isn't.
Okay, so anybody who's busy during the day better vote during the day.
Right. And that's why there's 10 days of voting.
I was talking on the electronic system.
Okay, electronic.
Electronic system is the new process, and I think that's where people are going to request help. So help is 7:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday.
The hours of the POC point of contact, which is Jennifer Eastman, so yes.
Will the system time out after a certain period of time? I know it will. Do we know what that timeout period is?
It's not Election Buddy that will time out. I think it's your system, your computer, you're closing down.
My computer doesn't shut down that fast, so.
Mine does. I had to be sure and give Dave my password so he could bring it back up.
Okay, I think I'm managing it now. Will you be able to place paper ballots in our mailboxes? You also mentioned that we're gonna be able to pick them up in the office. Is that correct? They're not being mailed?
Yes. Could you hear Roberta back there?
So, I think Roberta said they would be placed in the mailbox, or you could pick them up in the office,
Right. Correct.
Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3:30.
Well, before then, probably, because
Same as
you
always.
might want it.
I did time out. So the deadline to request a paper ballot is the 27th.
Right.
of January, close of business, which
Right.
is 3:30-ish. The next training session is the day after that, the 28th.
Right.
So anybody who doesn't watch this one, but who does watch on the 28th or attends on the 28th, will, I can't say SOL, sorry, will be out of luck, getting a paper ballot at that point.
Yes, actually, what you're saying is correct. So I'm hoping we'll keep reminding people, if you want to do this, get the ballot, because this is the last day to do it.
Hi, John Wilkie, 2209. When you say there's support Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30 through Jennifer, how will we get a hold of her if need be because of the phone situation that is currently going on and the internet connections? Will that all be correct? Because right now I'm concerned about people trying to call Jennifer and not being able to get through.
If you're here in the park in those hours, you can walk in and there is a paper request form for a paper ballot. And otherwise, questions for Jen, the only methods we have are through email, which is on this document, and that will get published some more, her email address.
But if you have a question for Jennifer, Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30, you have to email her, correct?
As long as the phones aren't working, yes. Now, are you talking about election questions?
Well, remember, she will help with the process, not help you, and we will have 2 kiosks in the office. So if you do have questions or you're unsure, you could always come in. You can even bring your paper ballot with your key card and come in, and the communications committee can help you log into the system, and you can put your ballot in at that point.
I feel like a bobblehead. I'm going like this. Yes.
Hi, Lily Atkinson, 17150. Excuse me, my leg. I think that we should just try it. There's so many of us that we can communicate. I walk up and down my block, 2 blocks, and I let her open on my block. And I let her know what's going on. If you're confused, we ought to play intelligently. We got an elected group. We shouldn't really stress so much like this. Have a cocktail and share.
There you go.
Here,
That was
the party is right there.
that was my suggestion too. Is bring a friend if you want to bring them to the kiosk and get some help. But we are a family here usually.
That's a great idea, and I don't mind remaining flexible. So if somebody needs that kind of assistance, we can certainly take a laptop if we need to, or go over and talk to them. So a great idea, thank you, we'll write that down. What I really find interesting, and I'm just gonna say this, so I'm sorry, I got nothing to lose. But the fact of the matter is, the people that are in a fury about using electronic voting are using electronic means to tell you there could be an issue. It's posted on Facebook, and then they tell you to email your paper request to Jen. So they're using social media and electronic means to tell you to be concerned about electronic voting. So just think about that. How many of us have these smartphones? We all have them, majority of us. 98% have an email, which means they have some form of communications to social media. My mother-in-law's 98 years old. She uses her phone when she's on Facebook, just like the majority of people in here too. So it's is absolutely correct. It took her more time to show you how to use it than it will take you to use it. Okay? Thanks.
I don't know if I said this earlier, Nikki Ashton, Lot 13, in my 40th year here as an owner. I do know people who don't have a computer, who don't have a smartphone, who don't use email, who don't use the internet, who walk up here to the town center every day if they can or they get a ride. And so there are people with sight problems. There's a lot of times two people in a household. My husband will not look at my phone to vote, so I don't know how we're going to do this yet. But I think that making the consideration for those who are not able to do this is a requirement of this community.
I think so too, and by the way, you only get one vote for your lot, so
One
he
vote
doesn't
per
get a
lot.
choice, you get to pick it.
So if you get to read it faster than him, you get the vote, Nikki. Listen, I know people, it's whoever got to the mailbox first got the vote. I heard that, he told me that. So, yeah. So again, we're moving forward. This is gonna be much easier than you think. If you're uncertain, bring your information in. We are going to work at getting a mock ballot. We will get that actually from Election Buddy. They're gonna give us a mock ballot so you'll know exactly how it looks. Okay, we can email you one of those, you can print it out, you can make all your notifications on it so that when you get your electronic key, you can go right on in and go, oh yeah, this is what I said I wanted to vote on. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible. Let's don't try and roll in things that haven't even happened yet. So give it a shot, okay?
And we appreciate your
Thank you.
reminding us of the old folks. I hear you, Mickey, what?
They're a small percentage compared to the amount of people that have moved in here in the last 3 years.
And thank you for your thanks, you guys.
Sue, would you be able to get a printout hard copy of your presentation that was on the screen behind you?
Yes, if we can get it through the system, absolutely. I have it as a PDF.
Okay, I was looking for a printout maybe for those who need it. And I did have a question on my list. Is the font going to be large enough to read for those of us who need it larger? Because I can't read what's on the screen.
I know, it's very difficult, and
So in the actual ballot, will we be able to, is it not
yes.
point? Are we gonna
It,
have
it will be, but also there's the practical, if you're voting electronically, you can stretch it. But that's one of the reasons, that's one of the reasons I said hold it this way. You can see it a little better, but yes, it will be legible. Yeah, it'll scroll. It will scroll down.
You know, the thing about computers, sometimes individual pages like this, you're cramming stuff in here, so your font is smaller. This is a rolling page, so I'm assuming the font will be just fine to be able to read it.
And you did mention turning your phone this way and that way, landscape portrait. I just want to make sure it is legible, both on the screen and especially the hard copy, because the hard copy is the people who want to be able to read it.
The hard copy, you mean the ballot? It's a paper ballot?
Itself, not
Yes,
the presentation. I was just looking at your sample.
yes.
ballot, and it's teeny tiny.
Of course it's, and by the way, I want it legible too. I'm also going to vote this way.
Okay, Sue and Sue did all the work on the presentation, and she's done a great job. So thank you for that. Just want to reiterate, we have two parts to the ballot. We have the BOD director's part, which is a 25% quorum. You vote 0 to 3. Okay, so you don't have to vote for anybody, or you can vote for 3. That is your choice. If you put 4, it will not accept it. That's the key. If you put 2, it will accept it. If you put 0, it will accept it. On the CCNR bylaw changes, you have to vote on each one. It is a yes, a no, or an abstain. If you don't put one of those comments, or check one of those boxes on the CCNR bylaws, it will not go through. Okay, so it is set up that way. That will be the complete process. And that form is 1,001, 51%. Okay, again, one vote per lot. Nikki, you got another question?
I know you said something new. I hadn't thought about. You brought up a point, and I just need to clarify. So if I log in
Correct.
So when I hit submit, that is qualifying the quorum of 25% for the candidates.
The quorum is for the CCNRs, that's the 51%.
So where does the counting and the verification for the quorum of the candidates?
It's the quota for the candidates, which is 25%, and I'm distinguishing because so will election buddy. A quota,
Is it a majority vote or is it a plurality vote?
it is the number of submitted ballots. If the number of submitted ballots, regardless of how they were voted, is not 25% or 501, then the board election is no.
Okay, so I could not vote for a candidate, and if everybody else does, and then we get the 501 votes, that satisfies quorum for the candidates.
Let me clarify this, I think, let me make sure,
Yes.
Sue, that you and I are on the same page. The quorum for 25% is based on votes received for them, for the board of directors. The 1,001 is based on the CCNRs where you have to have. Does that make sense? That's votes received also, but we're forcing votes on that. Because we don't have to.
So if nobody votes for a candidate, then we don't have 25%.
Correct.
If we do have 502 votes, 501, then we do have a quorum for the candidate.
And it's,
501 votes on candidates, that is correct.
right. And the distinction that we have is quota versus quorum.
Correct.
Quota is for the board members, quorum is for the CCNRs. It is in our CCNRs, and Election Buddy has those rules to apply.
Yes. It's gonna be fine, because
Well-
that's why we're using electronic process. A lot easier than if we're doing paper ballots, but it's okay. It's gonna be fine, but, you know, I appreciate your concern. Donna, 379, okay. Would it be easier for the people that are having issues with the board and the CCNRs to, if they're abstaining and they're not voting for anybody on board, can you just have them abstain things and then leave abstain?
Abstain is a vote.
Got it. Okay, and as for the printing of the, or the print on it, I'm voting blind, but my husband will be sitting right next to me, and we will vote together. And that's what we do. Yes, it's still just one vote, but it's a joint vote for that lot. All right, anything else, Sue? Any other really, really pressing questions? Yes, ma'am.
I didn't say before, this is Michelle Cannon, lot 781. I just have a question. I think earlier in one of the meetings, it said that the quorum counted, if we just were deciding on the board of directors that are abstaining and everything else and saying that the quota for the board of directors counted towards that 1,000 for the CCNRs.
One's a quorum, one's a,
One's a quota. It's still vote submitted, the magic submit button.
that's it. All right. Thank you all. Never hesitate to come talk to us. Oh, one more. One last question. I'm coming in 50 minutes.
So what happens when we approach, are we gonna be notified from election buddy, or what happens next?
You mean at the end? The office will get the results, Election Buddy works with the office, and they will publish them.
Oh. On February 3rd, you will receive an email with
Got
a
it.
16 key code attached to it that says your vote is now open. The voting box is now open. That's how you be notified. If you don't vote, let's say in a week, you will probably get another email and a message that'll say, we haven't received your vote yet. Okay? You bet. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank